Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Good morning and welcome to the Ordinary Daily version of the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. Welcome back, I should say. I know we've kind of had a little bit of a strange schedule the last couple weeks ever since Ironman Lake Placid. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. My name is Coach Scott. And that's right, I said Coach Scott, and it is actually official. It is actually official. Here's USA Triathlon. I got two certificates. I don't know why, but one says Certified Coach, and then the other one was the course that I took, which was Level 1 certification, Level 1 Certified Coach. It is now official. We're going to be doing a lot with that coaching with Team Ordinary. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Actually, it'll probably be more towards the back end of the podcast, but I do want to talk about schedule a little bit here. We're going to talk about that in the front of the podcast because I don't want to abandon you guys. I know probably last couple of weeks, I've only done the one podcast. We did start a podcast with Charlie Duffy over the weekend. He just finished Ironman Lake Placid. It was his first one. That kind of got cut off in the middle. We have to finish it off. Also had some audio issues there. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that one. We might have to do it all over again. I'm not quite sure. But hopefully Charlie will indulge me and come back. He was a great guest. The content is really good. He's got a great story to tell. Looking forward to kind of having him back and figuring out the problems that we had. Schedule-wise, guys, this is kind of a new, we're kind of leaning into a new chapter, a post-Ironman Lake Placid chapter of the podcast. I know a lot of you guys have been faithfully watching every day, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I think that now that Ironman is over, and I don't think I'm going to be talking about my training every single day, the successes, the failures, the plans, all that good stuff. I think it makes sense to kind of condense it a little bit. And here's what I'm proposing. Now, I am open to other suggestions, so if this really bothers you and you're a regular listener, please let me know. My thought is this. I want to get 2 podcasts out a week, one either Monday or Tuesday, one either Thursday or Friday, and then I want to get one out either on the weekend or anytime during the week, really, where I have a guest come on. So 3 podcasts a week. I think that quality-wise, I'm leaning towards the videos a little bit more, the YouTube videos. I really want to get the content buffered. I don't want to, I go on my YouTube channel and I look, and it's really just, it's my ugly face staring at you guys behind the desk day in and day out, and I want to get a little bit more content there. And I think that by giving myself an extra day or two to sort of work on content for those videos, I think they'll be more useful, more entertaining, and more valuable to everybody. So I think that as opposed to coming here and just giving you 15 to 20 minutes of audio, of some days would be me BSing you guys. And trust me, the last thing I want to do is BS my audience because I know you guys will see right through it. I think that focusing on quality twice a week and then having a guest on once a week is a really good soft spot. And that is, it will be a good schedule for us going forward. Again, if you have problems with it or if you have any other ideas, I'd love to hear them. Just know that it's my podcast, so I can do whatever I want. All right. Within, you get the picture. You know what I mean. I'm trying not to insult people. There I go, insulting people. The people I love the most too. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys so much. Anyone who's reached out to me after the last podcast, the Ironman Lake Placid recap. It's been one of the, if not the most watched and listened to podcasts that we've ever done here. Without a doubt, the most feedback I've ever gotten from one podcast, whether it be friends of mine forever that kind of just sit on the outside and they kind of watch and don't really talk too much about it because they don't train themselves. And then they watch and they reach out to me, whether it was people that were there that day and cheered me on, people that are in our group who tracked me. And then there were people who I never met before, never heard of before, who reached out to me and said, wow, I listened to your podcast. I mean, to sit there and listen to a podcast that's over an hour, and I poured a lot of emotion into that podcast. And I've gone back and watched it after a couple of days. And it moved me all over again. And it was sort of like, man, that day was so special to me. And getting through that, man. So again, I just want to thank you guys for your feedback and your comments. And I got to tell you too, I guess if I had one thing not that I was concerned, because it really, again, it's my own, when I look at the 17 hours, 0 minutes, and 58 seconds, I've made peace with it. I'm not really concerned. Here's what I know, is I know that there's part of me that doesn't like to be sort of criticized or say told that I'm wrong. And especially by people on social media in a public forum. That has not happened. I've blocked people in the past. I mean, look, I'm running a podcast here, so sometimes we're a little bit aggressive with what we put out there. I try not to be, but I think I might just remember one guy like commenting about it and being kind of nasty, and I just blocked him. And I kind of was expecting to see maybe one or two people that would really get on my case about the 58 seconds. And like I said, I know where they are. I know where they reside. I know where I can go and get berated if I wanted. But I'm not doing that. And not only that, but I don't care. I don't care. Because my achievements, they're right here. They're in my heart. They're how I feel about it. And I'm good to go, guys. I'm good to go. Two things that I thought about post-podcast. And I'm probably 50 people. I'm not even joking. 50 people reached out to me and called me an Ironman and said, So if there's one person out there that says no, I'm going to go with majority. Well, first I'm going Mike Riley. Second, I'm going with me, then majority. And we're not even going to listen to the negative voices out there. But these were my two thoughts post podcast recap. Number one was this. Had this been my first Ironman, had this been my very first one, and I finished with 58 seconds additional on the clock, I'm not saying I wouldn't have called myself an Ironman. I'm saying that 58 seconds would have been too much to bear, and I would have registered for the next year immediately to get that taken care of. That would have stuck in my craw. That would have pushed me for a whole year. That would have pushed me those 58 seconds. The fact that I've done 2 Ironman in the past, this race for me was a vindication. It wasn't, I don't need those 58 seconds. I'm happy with those 58 seconds. You know what? The experience that it gave my daughter Sam, I would number one, I wouldn't trade that for anything. Number two, I'm almost glad for those 58 seconds. Just another 58 seconds that heightened the drama, that gave her that little tiny bit more of an experience of me being closer to the wire. Because that clock is up there, it goes to 17, and then they shut out, they turn off the lights for the day. Not literally, well, pretty close. I don't think the clock actually goes over 17. I think it stops there. But just to get under that wire with that 58 seconds or not, I think it just gave Samantha that little bit extra experience, and I'm thrilled. Thrilled to death. The second thing that bothers me now, that's been bothering me, has been the tattoo. Now, I talked about that on the podcast recap. The tattoo, I was going to get 3 tattoos. 3 little Ironman logos on the back of my calf. 1 for each one that I finished. I've talked to some people about this, and I've made a slight change of mind. Now, I want this to be clear. I didn't change my mind because this did not count as an Ironman. This needs to be perfectly clear. I'm going to tell you why I changed my mind. Putting a tattoo on my body for each Ironman that I've done, I think it's very limiting to me in the future. I think what it's saying is, here I've done 3, and here's your canvas left calf muscle. This is your limit. I'm 45 years old. There were people out there 80 years old doing these things. If I settle, now I'm pretty sure that I'm taking 2020 off, but I'm pretty sure I'm doing Ironman Lake Placid 2021. It's almost been decided. If I were to do a podcast from the age of 46 until the age of 80 every other year, my calf would be full of Ironman logos. And I'm not really a tattoo person. I do have one, but I'm not one of those people that really like to get my entire body covered in tattoos. Not that that's a bad thing. My brother, I love him to death. He's covered in tattoos. Tons of them. I don't judge. It's just not for me. They hurt. Guys, they hurt. I don't need that pain every single year or however often I do an Ironman. And I definitely don't need a whole entire leg full of tattoos. And when I thought about it, I thought, you know what? Yeah, getting 3 on there would be kind of cool. And then adding 1 every time I do one, that would be kind of cool. But fast forward a long time from now, having a leg full of Ironman tattoos, I don't think I'm going to want that. But getting 1 is significant enough, and I think that's what we're going to do. I just haven't decided if I'm going to get it on the shoulder or on the calf. I'm sort of leaning towards shoulder, to be honest. I know the calf is sort of the most popular one, but I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards more shoulder. We'll see. Love to hear your thoughts on my tattoo. So a couple of weird things that have happened. Now, we've taken 2 weeks off of the podcast. Really just only did the 1 episode. And some weird things happened after the race. And one of them is regarding my Garmin watch. Now, I finished the race, and look, the Garmin held out the whole entire time, 17 hours with time to spare, with battery to spare. But the next morning, I did take it off of the charger. Put it into the charger, recharge the whole thing 100%. Now, one thing that happened was when I did the event, I have triathlon mode on this Garmin, which will take care of all 3 of the legs and also do the transitions, all that good stuff. But I don't use it in training. And the one time I tried to use it in triathlon, I blew it up. I didn't have the data that I wanted in front of my face. And, I think it's important when you're racing that you have to have what you're used to. And if you're used to seeing the data as you look at your watch, then you have to make sure that it's there. You have to do everything that's possible to make sure on race day that it's just like training. So instead of doing triathlon mode, I use this as 3 separate events: a swim, a bike, a run. Now, after I finished the Ironman, I tried to download the data to my Garmin. Those of you guys with the watch, you guys know what I'm talking about. It downloads from your watch through your phone, through the Bluetooth, and then you have all the data there. You can kind of see the map and all this good stuff. It's a really good spot to have all your data. The data is also in the watch, but it's harder to reach that way. It's harder to kind of see. You don't really see as much detail. I was looking forward to seeing the data from my race. And for whatever reason, it's not downloading. It's not downloading to my Garmin. And my Garmin also feeds Strava, which I don't usually use that much. But it hadn't fed in there. The more interesting part of that is that on Saturday, Stephanie and I did 7-mile run. I used my watch and it downloaded perfectly. So why didn't my data download? I don't know. Another thing that happened is this thing calculates my steps every day. And not that I'm a slave to this. I'm not like one of those people that really, I got to get my steps in. But I do like to see when I look down and I've had a good day, if I see a number over 10,000, I kind of go to sleep knowing that, hey, I moved around today. I got some things done. I kind of was able to do some productive things. It makes me feel kind of more accomplished. Right now, my watch is stuck on 2,404 steps. It's been that way for 2 weeks, and I can't tell you how annoying that is. I cannot tell you how annoying that is. So my gut feeling is that I have to wait until this watch runs out of batteries, and I should be throwing the GPS on. I know that'll make it go faster, but it's been 2 weeks, guys, and this thing has halfway done the battery. It's 50% through. Come on already. Come on. It's like the one time you want your Garmin to not perform well and to lose battery at a very fast pace, just so it'll reset. I don't know if there's a way to reset this thing. It probably is. I just got to find it. There's a lot of buttons here, doodads, and all you millennials with your gimmicky stuff, inventions and the like. But just a weird thing that's happened. Another thing that's happened that's been kind of strange is my weight. And I'm going to bring this up because it's kind of like a weird, I want to call it an anomaly, but maybe it's not. It's science. But I struggled to lose weight those last few months, really. I wanted to get to 205 for race day. I wound up going to race day at 223, which still was 15 pounds off of the year before. But I got to tell you, had I lost 5 more pounds, I think I get my 58 seconds. I think I do. I think I find them on those hills. That 5 pounds would have made a lot of difference. One of the things I've looked at is sort of the time that it took me this year versus the time it took me 2 years ago. I'm a much better cyclist now. I cycle with much more power, much more endurance. The difference is I'm 20 pounds heavier than I was 2 years ago, and my time on the bike 2 years ago crushes my time from this year by like 45 minutes. And yeah, I didn't have the headwind. I didn't have any rain. It was a perfect day 2 years ago. But, it seems to me like that weight really, really matters when it comes to cycling. And I can't imagine what would happen if I was 180. And I really would, if there's over the next 2 years, I would love nothing more than to find sort of a more defined triathlon body for myself. That's a goal. That's something I'm going to be talking about in the days to come, weeks to come. But I did the triathlon on the 28th of July. I didn't weigh myself after that. Came home on a Tuesday, went down to Florida on a Thursday, stayed in Florida until Sunday. So we were like a full week. We went fishing. And I got to tell you, when I went to a restaurant, I ordered what I want to order. And normally I look at the menu and I look for the healthiest thing or what I deem to be the healthiest thing, and I order that or something close to it. The word Parmesan is not in my vocabulary while I'm in training, but it was last week. But it was chicken parm, baby. I hadn't had it in a long, long time, and I decided, cheese be damned, I'm ordering what I want. I've earned it. I deserve it. And I did that, and I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks. Now, today kind of draws a line. I'm starting my Marine Corps marathon training today. I was going to start it last week. It didn't quite work out well for me, so I'm going to start it today. And I kind of looking at today as like my first day as we're back with the podcast. I got my coaching certification. I'm working on kind of getting things together so we can start rolling with that. I'm already coaching a couple athletes. We're going to talk about that more in the days to come. We're working on Team Ordinary. That's another whole concept. But anyway, I stepped on the scale when I got back from Florida. So a full week after Ironman Lake Placid. Went to Lake Placid at 223. A week later, I was 217. Last week, I didn't train very hard. I had my 7-mile run. Have been continued to eat what I want, and I'm 220 this morning. Go figure. I could not lose 3 pounds as hard as I tried those last few weeks. So I do one giant race, 17 hours out there in the day, and that has sort of, I think it's kind of made my body a furnace. And for the last 2 weeks, my body's just been handling food a lot better. I am not prescribing 17-hour daily workouts for anybody. I'm just saying, wow, that's kind of weird. And I started thinking about it in this context. And I don't, I'm no scientist. And I know, a lot of people battle and struggle with weight. But this is what I thought of in the context of my regular day. I spend hours and hours behind this desk. I am chained to this desk. I have ideas. I'm developing websites. I'm putting things together. I'm doing the podcast. I mean, look, I'm sitting. I'm not on the run doing this podcast. I'm sitting. It's not healthy to sit behind a desk for hours and hours and hours. You got to get up. You got to get moving. Hey, do you work on the 5th floor of a building? Walk up the stairs. Don't take the elevator. Don't be a slave to being, dormant, sedentary. Get up and get moving. Walk around. You have an extra 10 minutes. Don't sit there and go on YouTube. Go for a walk. Do something. Get moving. Don't sit in that chair, guys. It's a lesson that I need to learn for myself, and I'm kind of taking that as a habit. I watched a video, and I've mentioned this guy's YouTube channel before, Lionel Sanders. He's a professional triathlete. Came in second in Kona 2 years ago. His channel is entertaining. I've watched a lot of the videos, but one in particular, a couple weeks ago, they released this video where a guy followed him and counted his calories. I may have mentioned this on the podcast. But the guy casually ate 6,500 calories in one day of training. Now, look, this guy, his profession is triathlon. So he's on the bike for hours in a day, runs, swims, he's moving on the move. He's never sitting still. He eats 6,500 calories casually in a day, and this guy is chiseled. I mean, he's probably 160, and he's not like a thin marathon guy. He's a chiseled triathlete. He's got a thin waist, but his chest is big, and he just eating 6,500 calories a day. If I ate 6,500 calories a day, I'd be tremendous. So my thinking is, stay in motion, guys. Stay moving. Keep that blood flowing. Keep that stuff going. Get your training in, obviously. But if you got a lunch hour, don't sit there and eat lunch. Get up and move. Do something. I beg you. I need to do this myself more. And I've kind of noticed that. And that's sort of my takeaway from this triathlon. What changed? I was spent one day on my feet, 17 hours. What's changed the last 2 weeks? Well, I haven't been a slave to the desk as much as I have been in weeks past, in months past. I've been up and moving around. Went to Florida. Obviously, we, did a lot of walking when I was down there, which was really healthy. It was really good. Spent a lot of time in the pool casually with my daughter. But still, it's up. You're up, and you're not sitting down all day long. And I think that's important. It's important that we get moving and, try to form good habits. I have this, my bad habit of the last 2 weeks has been playing Madden. And again, and what do you do when you play Madden? You sit on your butt. Think about this. Think about your bad habits. Think about what they are. Think about how you can change them. And think about, at sometimes I'm playing Madden, my daughter's in the playpen right in front of me. Now, what would be better? What would be better for me? What would be better for her? Me playing Madden while she's in the playpen, or me putting her in the stroller and going for a walk outside? It's an easy question to answer. Form good habits. That's kind of my lesson. That's kind of what I'm taking out of the last 2 weeks of really this kind of strange weight loss that's been really. I mean, look, like I said, I was 217 and now I'm 220 a week later. Of really just Parmesan and ice cream and whatever I wanted to eat, whatever I wanted to drink. That's what's been going on. I did draw the line today. I drew the line for a lot of reasons. Number one, I'm doing this podcast. It's the start of the week. I got my coaching certification. That's another thing. I'm not taking this coaching thing lightly. One of the things that I always felt, and this goes back to my athletic days, especially playing football in college, is that if you want to be a leader of the team, you could be outspoken. You could tell people what to do. The best way to be a leader, in my experience, is to do it by example. So if I sit here and give people workouts and tell them what to do and tell them how to be ready, and yeah, I've done it in the past. Most of these things I've done in the past, so it's a little bit of an example. But if I'm sitting there and going out and ordering chicken parm and going down and getting ice cream every day and drinking a few beers and doing all that stuff, am I setting a good example if I'm not getting my workouts in personally? And I think that answer is no. That's not to say I'm not going to go grab a beer from time to time, guys. That's not. The idea is to set a good example. And that's how you get people to trust you and to listen to you. And I think that's what I'm going to be working on for the next few weeks, rolling into, hopefully it's a life, and look, it's sort of a lifestyle thing now. Triathlon, training for triathlon is a lifestyle. That's kind of what I want to embrace going forward, especially as a coach. And we're going to talk about this coaching thing more in future podcasts. I think we're going to call it quits for the day. I've got a lot of things going on, guys. Team Ordinary will be rolling out in about 2 weeks. We're ordering all the swag. It's been a little bit slow on the swag order. I'm waiting for a design, and then we got to approve the design, then we got to order it. Waiting for that. Developing the website there too. It's going to be really cool, guys. I'm so excited about this. Our Facebook group is going strong. We've gotten some more people ever since Ironman Lake Placid. Really cool, very supportive group. Ordinary Marathoners on Facebook. Head on over there, join the group. We'll put you right through. You need to be approved, but we put you right through, and you can join the conversation, or you can just sit there and read and try to get some motivation for yourself, some inspiration. Find it. There's a lot of it there. Twitter account at Ord Marathoner, ORD Marathoner. That's not going to change with Team Ordinary. We're going to leave that there. I've got too much social media stuff going on. I'm overwhelmed. I'm kind of like old curmudgeon when it comes to that stuff. I barely even look at Instagram. I think I've kind of sent Instagram to Stephanie. That's her business. She's our Instagram person. But I'm overwhelmed with social media, with Twitter and Facebook. Our YouTube channel, head on over there, subscribe. Guys, we need 4 more subscribers. We got about 7 more new subscribers, I think, and ever since the Ironman Lake Placid podcast. Guys, thank you so much for subscribing. It really means a lot. It really supports the channel and all we got going on here. And that's it for the day. We're going to call it quits. Again, I'm working on having Charlie Duffy come back and do another podcast. I don't know if I'm going to do a new one or just try to add on to the one that we've done, but he's our guest for the week. I got other people too lined up. Very excited, guys. Very excited about the future we got going. Lots going on. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it today, guys. Happy Monday.
Remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel.